Democrats flip out about the Supreme Court because it's only good news for Trump. I'm John Mike Keene, and I always like bringing the good news coming from the mouths of these Democrats.
The most significant impact of the first Trump administration, and indeed the aspect of it that may have the most long-lasting ramifications for American society, was its impact on the federal judiciary. During his first term in office, Donald Trump appointed a third of the United States Supreme Court to their lifetime appointments.
If we can just get Trump to appoint the other 2/3 of the court, I think we'll be in good shape.
Within a few years, the court overturned 3 major precedents, including Roe versus Wade. It also gutted affirmative action. And with its ruling on presidential immunity, it essentially made the office of the president above the law.
Okay, now that's a lie. The Supreme Court cannot make the presidency above the law. The Supreme Court tells you what the law says. MSNBC is trying to make a law above the actual law.
So, with Donald Trump back in office and Republicans holding a clear majority in the Senate, Republicans are salivating at the idea of dominating the judiciary for decades to come.
I'm salivating. I have drool pouring out of my mouth at the thought. It's like a Pavlovian bell went off. Ding! And I'm slobbering at what we're going to do with the Supreme Court. These are good days. Good times, everybody. If you're not smiling, then you don't fully understand the extent of the Trump win.
All eyes are on the 2 oldest conservative justices, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. They are both septuagenarians, and if they retire...
They never said about the septuagenarian stuff about Joe Biden. It never occurred to them that something was wrong with him being that old and decrepit. And meanwhile, these 2 Supreme Court justices are actually sharp as a tack.
Donald Trump would have the opportunity to nominate their successors, making Trump the first president since Franklin Roosevelt to have appointed a majority of the justices to the high court.
Now, which younger kid might Trump replace them with? I don't want to start any rumors, but I heard a rumor yesterday on Twitter. Here's Lucas Miles' scoop. A well-placed source suggests that 40-year-old Ben Shapiro's name is being floated in legal circles as a potential Supreme Court pick under Trump. This is unconfirmed, and this is a long shot, but I just can't think of a better win against the Democrats than to appoint Ben Shapiro to the Supreme Court.
Let's talk a little bit about the Biden administration. One of the key points that the Biden administration did was to try and counteract what the Trump administration had done with judicial nominations. And right now, there are currently about 20 or so judicial nominations that are pending at the Senate. Can the Democrats push these nominations through during this lame duck period? And if they aren't successful in doing so, what will be the consequences?
So that's what's at stake now is the Democrats have 20 justices in lower courts backed up, especially in D.C., which is almost all leftists like Chutkin running D.C., but they can't get them through now. They're going to have a hard time getting them through. It's the Republicans' job to delay those appointments so Trump can fill them instead.
They absolutely can if they grow a backbone and are willing to do so. I think it's extremely important for them to fill the vacancies because, of course, if they don't, they're handing them over to Donald Trump. And we know the kind of appointees that Donald Trump has been stacking the judiciary with. You know, one of the judges he appointed during the lame duck session of his last presidency was Eileen Cannon, who basically stymied the obstruction of justice and interference with classified documents charges case against him in Florida.
Elections have consequences, and that's where the superstar Eileen Cannon came from, who is perhaps the only judge that was legit of all of Trump's 5 or 6 lawsuits, the lawfare that the Democrats brought against him. And they're upset that he got 1 out of those 5 judges.
So it would be catastrophic if the Biden administration were to leave these vacancies open for the Trump administration. And I think that's particularly true for the district courts in the District of Columbia, which, of course, is the court where a lot of litigation against the government is brought. And if Biden allowed Donald Trump to fill vacancies in the District Court of District of Columbia, which, again, is really the seat for a lot of litigation against the government, that would be really, really bad.
Really, really bad means really, really good in reality land.
And this court will green light and rubber stamp everything Trump wants, or almost everything Trump wants, because Trump and this court are very much in deep ideological alignment with each other. They want the country to move in the same direction, and they will interpret this election as a mandate for both institutions, both the presidency and the judiciary, to push as hard as possible. Legal constraints be damned.
And these four sourpusses will tell you everything you need to know about how great we're winning. I'm John